your goal is to try to achieve a more natural sound the next time that you speak in American English, then this is going to be a place for you. I know that in my own pronunciation journey, I can't speak for you guys, but when I was learning other languages, I would get the grammar good, I'd get the vocab good. People were like, "Oh, you speak so well," but they would always make comments about my accent, and I know that was tiring after a while. I want to make sure that you can avoid that same frustration. So we're going to be taking a look at two pronunciation files that you send us right here in the Schwa Mill. Good morning, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. This is your American English Pronunciation Review Show, where Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays, although we will be off this week, right around 7 a.m. New York, we take a look at two pronunciation files that you send to us in our free group on Telegram. You can find it in the video description, by the way, in case you would like to join and send us an audio file to potentially get reviewed on a future episode. And to guide you in this process, there is me. Hi, my name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That is one of the 4 keys to a natural sound in American English, including placement, pitch, breath. Trying to weaken your consonant sounds in order to strengthen your vowel sounds. We have 2 new files to look at today. Thank you to everyone who's been sending us files. Greatly appreciate it. It's hard to do a pronunciation review show if you have nothing to review. Let's take a listen to our first file and see what we can suggest to help them achieve a more natural sound when they speak in American English. First file.
I've been here for like 30 minutes now, and nobody showed up.
Okay, I'm going to play that one more time. Second.
I've been here for like 30 minutes now, and nobody showed up.
All right. Thank you so much for sending this. So, some things that are standing out to me are a couple of vowel sounds that I'm going to guess are similar to our first language. The accent to me sounds like Portuguese. And I want to talk about some adjustments that I would make that I think are going to help this file to sound a bit more natural. Hello to David hanging out with us. Does eating a blueberry muffin help? I think that's blueberry. Is it blueberry or blubbery? Those are two. So I think it's blubbery. That's 2 different things. My guess is no. A blueberry muffin's probably not going to be enough to save you. Let's listen to this file again. I want to pay attention to the vowel sounds once more.
I've been here for like 30 minutes now, and nobody showed up.
Okay. First one I want to take a look at is a very common point of confusion. It's the short I sound in American English. The short I sound sounds like eh, eh. You see this in words like this, or quit, or pickle. Words like this. These all have short I sounds to them. Unfortunately, if you're watching this, your first language probably does not actually have a short I sound. It's one of the rarest sounds among languages. Instead, what people do is they use something similar from their first language that is an E sound. Unfortunately, from an American English perspective, an I and an E are not the same. Those are 2 different sounds. And when you say them, you can cause confusion. It's the difference between like this and these, or like ship and sheep. These are 2 different sounds. So we have to be really careful with these. One place where I'm hearing that happen.
I've been here for like 30 minutes now, and nobody showed up.
Like minutes. It's the difference between like minutes now, where it's not fully an E sound, but it's also not fully an I sound as well. So a lot of times people get stuck kind of in this like limbo. So we want to make sure when doing the short I sounds coming off clearly enough. It's like eh. My big suggestion again is to take the sides of your tongue and have them touch your top teeth. It's almost like you're biting the sides of your tongue a little bit. So it's like, that's me biting the sides of my tongue. And then lowering the very back of your tongue, raising the mid back of your tongue. Okay, so it's going to make kind of like a U shape a little bit. It's going to sound a bit like eh. It's like minutes. Part of the reason this can also occur is because our placement goes high. So even if you have the right mouth position, you may not get the right sound. And this can occur because your placement rises, maybe because of the I sound, but maybe because of the letter M. So like when you make an M sound, you want to be careful. You don't want to pronounce that M sound as like as much as you want to try to pronounce it as like Here, diversity and American English in general is going to opt for that latter one, the second one, the lower one. We want to project everything there. So it's not mean, it's men. Take everything lower. Minutes. Everything I'm saying here about placement and trying to keep things low and adding breath and diaphragm work, like we talk about very often on the channel, also applies to other vowel sounds as well. I'm going to play this again. See if you can identify the other vowel sound that I would like to target.
I've been here for like 30 minutes now and nobody showed up.
It's this O sound, the O diphthong. Now, there's a good chance your first language does have this sound. However, it's not going to sound the same in American English. First things first, when we're making a diphthong in American English, what I need us to consider is that American English treats diphthongs a little bit differently, most likely than how your first language does it. When we do diphthongs in American English, we almost want to compress the sounds into a single sound. So instead of doing like an O, with some pretty dramatic mouth movements, well, it's possible to do that. Very often, instead, what you're going to find is that people are compressing them together. So it sounds more like oh. Here, there's the O and O. One thing that may help with this to make this easier is trying to make sure that your lips stay straight. So notice I'm not going to do an exaggerate like oh with really round lips at the end. No, my lips are going to stay pretty straight for the entire time. Oh. So let's see where some of the words where this is occurring.
I've been here for like 30 minutes now and nobody showed up.
Okay. Nobody and showed. One right after the other, right? So like, oh, no, nobody. Oh, no, nobody. And then also showed, right? Oh, showed. Oh, showed. Oh, nobody showed. We don't want nobody showed. It's nobody showed. Here's the difference there. I will point out one other thing with the word nobody. Just like we talked about a moment ago with the word minute, with the M sound with a low placement, we want to do a similar thing also with nobody with the letter N. You don't want your N to do like n, because you can hear your placement shifting towards your lips very high. In frontal, we want to instead send that N sound lower from where we project from, so it's going to sound more like n. Here they're saying n and n. So if you use a higher placement N sound, what can happen is that your placement for the O sound also goes high. No. Versus if we keep the placement down on the N sound, it might make it easier to get that lower placement N as well. No. Nobody showed. Okay, so those would be just some quick things from a placement perspective that I think will help out a lot. Give it less of a an accented sound. Again, it sounds like Portuguese. Okay. Thank you so much for sending that file. Greatly appreciate it. Let's take a listen to our second file for today and see what sort of feedback we can give.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not go to boot camp.
Okay. Before we get into the feedback, I do just want to highlight as well, if you're finding this sort of feedback helpful, you may enjoy seeing me actually get to work with students. We have a couple different group coaching classes and things like that. You can learn a lot just by watching and seeing the adjustments students make and also the feedback that I give. So if you're interested in that, I'm just going to, again, let you know that our YouTube channel members at the American Eccentric level, they get access to watching all of our small group coaching sessions. You can also watch any previous class, so that's a lot. And there's like over 1,000. So you can watch any previous classes or any of the new ones that are upcoming for the week. You can also interact with us in the chat and ask us questions. We'd love to see you there. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, you want to not only enjoy these streams, but you also want to learn from what we do much more often, because we're meeting at 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10:30, 11 to 11:30, 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's Mondays through Wednesdays, all those times, New York. We're meeting all the time. We're meeting at different time zones to make sure we can hit a time that works for everybody, including you. It'd be great to see you in a group class. And all you need to do is join on the YouTube channel. Press the join button or go to youtube.com/FluentAmerican and join there. All right, feedback for our video here. Play it one more time.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not go to boot camp.
I would say for this file, I have two big suggestions, just like we had two suggestions for the previous one. The first one I would say is that we need a lot more elements of contrast. Okay, because what's happening is we're falling into patterns. Okay? When I say patterns, let me try to show you all the different patterns we're falling into with this file.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not go to boot camp.
Okay, so the first pattern I would say is that pacing. All of the syllables here are about the same length. Doesn't matter how long the word is, doesn't matter how many syllables are in the word, doesn't matter how many words are in the thought group. All the words here, all the syllables here are taking up more or less the same amount of time. You see what I just did there? The same, I dragged out same amount of time. And then I said all those syllables faster. Okay. English wants us to mix up the pacing. Sometimes we're going to go fast, sometimes we're going to go slow. We can't just stay at the same pace the entire time. Okay, so that's the first thing that is really standing out to me here is that our pacing is very, very regular. All of our syllables have about the same weight.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not go to boot camp.
Another heavy element of contrast here that I think would be helpful to incorporate will be firmness versus softness. What is firmness and softness? Yeah. So like, this is me talking firm. This is how I sound. To me, when we're listening to this file, everything sounds kind of like this. Everything is coming off this punchy. It's very firm. Okay, which is certainly one way to talk. It's not the only way to talk. And I'm not saying to not ever go firm, but I am saying go firm and go soft. What is soft? Soft is kind of like this. Now I'm talking much softer. It's not a whisper. It's not a whisper. It doesn't actually have to do necessarily with volume, but it's extending the breath, not going off as forcefully when I talk and things like that. This is me when I talk firm. This is me when I talk soft. When we listen to this audio file, there is pretty much no softness anywhere in the file.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not go to boot camp.
Part of the reason why this audio file, I think, is not able to access softness is because the breath is also getting very cut. One concept that we see in American English that's very different than if you're watching this is probably different than your first language is that when a sound ends in American English, the breath has to keep going. Just because the sound ends doesn't mean that the breath ends. We need the breath to continue flowing. This is an audio file where the breath is getting very restricted and never really able to flow.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not.
He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. Okay, so like everything's finished. Versus like he didn't make me. He didn't make me go to boot camp. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. That is an extreme example, but that is an example nonetheless of what this will sound like if we use a bit more softness and extend the breath after the sound. Because right now, again, everything is coming off firm. And everything's coming off strong, so there's not a lot of contrast in that. Okay. The final element of contrast that I think could really benefit this audio file is increasing our range of pitches. Okay. When we talk about pitches, again, you can think about a piano. On the left side of the piano, you have lower pitches. On the right-hand side, you have your higher pitches. We need to tap into everything. And what's happening here is that a lot of our thought groups are just kind of falling into the same pitch ranges over and over again.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp separately. He made me not go to boot camp.
Basically, the range is kind of doing this. It kind of starts high and then it goes down. And then we turn back to where this is. And then we come back to it. So it's like we're just kind of repeating the same cycle. So we have some pitch movement inside of each thought group, but every thought group is just repeating the same pitch range. But remember that when you change the thought group, you want to change the pitch level. It's almost like we're making a hotel or an apartment building. Every thought group is on a different floor. So this first thought group maybe is going to be high, but then the next thought group might be a little lower, and the next thought group might be a little bit lower. I don't know if it's the case for this audio file, but perhaps we're doing some shadowing. If you find that you record and you're not hearing, pitch movements in your own recording, I think we need to listen more carefully to the material we're shadowing because the pitch movements might be subtle and nuanced, but they're probably happening. It's rare where a student gives me an audio file that says, "Hey, there's no pitch movement here, and we can't find pitch movement." We might not be used to it, and we might not know what to look for, but it's very often there. So if we are shadowing, I need you to look much more carefully at your source material to make sure that you're matching the pitch movements. Because I'll be honest, I'm a little bit skeptical. We're doing a lot of repeating of the same patterns. To give an example, what this could sound like if there were more pitch movements across the thought groups.
It was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp.
Like it was one better than that. He didn't make me go to boot camp. Do you see? I was like, it was like one better than that. He didn't make me. Do you see that? We went from a low thought group to a high, and that's just one example. All right, thanks to everyone who's been sending us audio files. Again, it's hard to do a pronunciation review show if there's nothing to review. If you would like to join us, send me a file that we can take a look at in a future stream. Again, take a look at the video description. There's going to be a link there to a free Telegram group that you can join and send us files and also ask me questions and things like that. A reminder, we will not be here on Friday due to the holiday in the U.S., but we will be back next week, Monday, with some more pronunciation files to review. Once more, my name is Geoff. It rhymes with breath. That's one of the 4 keys to a natural sound American English, including placement, pitch, breath, trying to weaken your consonant sounds and strengthen your vowels. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you all later. Hope you guys have a good day, have a good night, and a good